What's up, guys? Rich Burner here with Builds a Book again, and today we're going to talk about something that a lot of agency owners are intimately familiar with, including myself, and that is the feast or famine cycle. And today we're going to talk about how we can escape that, how we can make sure that that feast or famine cycle never ever happens again, right? So one thing that we have to ask ourselves is, what does our calendar look like for the next month, right? If you feel like a knot of anxiety in your stomach thinking about that question, or you're laying in bed, thinking about, damn, like we don't have any booked appointments, revenue's getting lower, blah, blah, blah. That's your feast or famine cycle. So some months you're booking 30 plus calls and you're overwhelmed with clients. Other months you book less than 10 and you're desperately scrambling for leads. Everything's unpredictable. You're struggling to scale, unable to make strategic hiring decisions, and constantly stress about where your next client will come from. Like, this is feast or famine cycle. A lot of the times we see agency owners hit that 50K mark or more, they're running ads, and all of a sudden they slow down because they try and be like, oh no, now I have to build out the systems and everything. No, you have to keep up sales velocity or else you're going to lose it. And then by the time you get your systems in place and you hire, it's over. And then you have to find out a way to get it back. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we can keep the momentum going, how we can make sure that we always are in a feast cycle and or just like a good dinner, a good meal cycle, right? So if this, I know this feeling intimately because, one, I've been there. I know exactly what it is. And also I've worked with dozens of agency owners, coaches, and high-ticket consultants who are trapped in this same exact cycle. You're doing anywhere between 50 to 100K per month. And then, that is successful by most people's standards, right? And then they can't get to sleep at night. They're worried about their business because they never knew what exactly that revenue would be the next month. It's unpredictable. They don't know if they get a lot of referrals, maybe some cold email. They've tried ads, but it was never scalable for them. They waste a bunch of money on it. They get a couple booked appointments. And if they do get booked appointments, the lead quality is absolutely garbage, right? So if that resonates with you, then this video should give you a little bit of insight on how we can change it. I'm not going to show you exactly, I don't have enough time to talk about exactly how we're going to build an entire funnel and do all this crazy shit. But I could talk about the main aspects of how we can make sure that we're never in that cycle. And I can give you a Gamma document that you can use as an outline. And then if you want to talk about it, hit me up. So this system, this automated lead system that we built for our clients, it works 24/7, and it's generating predictable revenue that we can count on, right? So most people think that feast or famine cycle is just a part of running a service-based business. Most people accept the fact that it's the price of entrepreneurship, right? But that's not necessarily true. The feast or famine cycle exists because you're relying on unpredictable manual methods for client acquisition. So how are you currently getting clients right now? Probably some combination of like networking, referrals, cold outreach, posting on social media, maybe some inconsistent advertising, like the things I just said before. So all of these methods have one thing in common, and they require your constant manual effort. There's nothing ever working in the background unless you have people doing it for you. Sorry, I just had to sneeze. So that's the main issue with this, right? So there's a lot of hidden costs and this unpredictability and these things that you're doing. So like networking is going to require you to show up to events or even be on a Zoom call and talk to people that you don't even know. There's no guarantees that they're going to do anything, right? I've networked for a long time. It sucks. Referrals depend on your existing clients remembering to refer you. You're basically asking your clients to almost be like an outside sales team. Cold outreach requires you to research and personalization. Cold email, there's a lot of people making a lot of money off cold email, but it's a pain in the fucking ass. And there's no doubt about that. Nobody can say that it's not hard. And not saying that anything's easy, but this takes a lot of time and attention. Social media requires constant content creation. We got to be making content all the time, just like I am now. Even when you run your ads, you're probably doing it inconsistently without some sort of like systematic approach. There's no way that you're just not looking at the things that we need to look at. You're not consistently making new ads on on a scheduled basis, looking at results, analyzing, making the right adjustments, right? So this is what I like to call hustle model. It's exhausting, it's not scalable, and it's inherently unpredictable. There's nothing you can really do about it. So you can't control when someone will refer you. You can't control when a networking event will generate a lead. And you can't control your social media posts will go viral. And you are in control of cold email and cold calling, but at the end of the day, you're not in control of the information that you're giving. Are those good emails? Are they bad phone numbers? At the end of the day, it's kind of not in your plate. So the solution here is to replace what we like to call the hustle model with what I like to call the systems model. So instead of relying on manual effort, you build an automated machine that generates qualified leads while you sleep, ideally, and when you're awake. But let me show you exactly how this works. So we have the input of controlled ad spend, right? So the input is your advertising budget. It's completely controllable. You decide how much fuel you want to put into the machine. If you want more leads, you add more budget. If you want fewer leads because you're at capacity, you reduce budget. It's a lever that you can pull whenever you want. And the most beautiful thing is that when we get to the point where we know how much a qualified call costs, how much money you have to spend to get a booked call after that first month or first couple of weeks, and we know how much it costs for you to get a sale, and everything's dialed in, it's literally a formula. It's, okay, if I put in $2,000, if I put in $3,000, that gets me 10 calls, I have a closing percent of 30%, I'm gonna get 3 new clients a month with $3,000 a month on ad spend. Each client to me is worth $5,000. I generate $15K off 3 clients, and I spend $3,000 on ad spend. That's a 5x return on investment. So that's why ads are beautiful, because once you dial it in, and sometimes it could take 90 days, sometimes it could take a month. Once you dial it in though, it's a system that works by itself, and we just need to check up on it and make sure it's working properly, right? So the input is your controlled ad spend. The output is qualified pre-sold calls. So this is the whole point with our system. The output is what you actually want: a clear, consistently full and qualified prospects who are ready, a calendar that's consistently full, and ready to buy. Not just any leads, but people who have been educated about your process, who are understanding your pricing and are genuinely interested in working with you. So these are people who have gone through your funnel. They know what your pricing starts at. They watch your VSL. They're receiving all of your nurture emails and SMSs. They're watching your content. They're seeing video testimonials. These people are pretty much sold by the time they get onto your sales call. They just want to know they just want to know, maybe, is this too good to be true? So the system is your automated lead machine, obviously, right? So the magic happens right in the middle. This is where I was just talking about, all the nurturing. So this is your automated lead system. We have several different integrated parts working together 24/7. So component 1 is your targeted advertising. So your ads are running continuously, targeting your ideal clients based on specific demographics, interests, and behaviors. These aren't generic ads. They're crafted with multiple angles, and they speak directly to different pain points your prospects are experiencing. So it's not only pain points. Sometimes we could focus on ideal outcomes and other things as well. So there are 4 core angles and ways that we try and break things down. So most agencies will run 1 to 2 ad creatives and wonder why performance drops after 2 or 3 weeks. So at your business level, at this level of business, this much ad spend, you need a sophisticated approach with 8 to 12 different angles running simultaneously. You should be running 15 to 20 ads at any given time if you're spending $5K, $3K a month. So to break that down, to make this easier, we have to think about angles and hooks. And I'll get into the meta update and why that's really important to have a diversity amongst your ad sets. But the 4 core angle categories that we can make. So think of an angle as a theme, and a hook as a way to grab people into that theme. It's a attention grabber. So an angle could be problem agitation, burning 10K a month on ads with no results, tired of feast or famine revenue cycles, your marketing team costing you 200K a year but delivering inconsistent results. And then a hook would be, this would be more of a hook, I guess, right? So an angle would be wasting monthly ad spend, wasting money on ad spend every month with no result. That would be an angle, right? So a hook would be, how are we conveying that to these people? We have another core angle, solution focused result. So the client acquisition system that generates 847 qualified leads in 90 days. How we can help company go from 50K to 200K in 6 months. These are solution focused. This is almost like an offer, right? And then we have our authority and credibility angles. The same strategy we use for Fortune 500 companies. Why blank leader hired us to build their lead generation system. And then urgency. We can do only working with 3 new clients a month. Q4 planning deadlines. Why wait until January? These are all urgencies, right? So these are all different ways. And this document has a bunch of information in it on like how we can, make our ads better and make ads work at scale. For instance, like lookalike audiences, interest stacking, focus on primary interests like business and marketing tools, secondary interests, industry publications, behavioral interests, so business travelers, frequent online purchasers, incomes are great. You do, actually, let me change this, top 10% of zip code or country. Sometimes this one could be tricky, but this is super targeted. Another way is budget allocation. So budget allocation for ad spend doing about 10K a month, 40% we want on proven winning campaigns and ad sets, 3,000 scaling successful angles so that we can add them into these proven campaigns, 2,000 on testing new creatives, and 1,000 on audience expansion and retargeting. So component 1 is your targeted ads, right? Now component 2, this is the second part, which is going to be your high converting landing page. So when someone clicks your ad, they land on a page specifically designed to convert cold traffic. So this isn't your homepage of your website. It's a dedicated conversion page where a clear value proposition and a compelling call to action. So you're not just sending people to your website, right? So there's 7 sections, I would like to say, of cold traffic landing page. It's not just a contact form; it's a sophisticated conversion machine. There's important pieces to this, right? So we have our headlines, where we have our specific outcome and time frame, our attractive offer, and there's some examples in here too. Section 1, problem agitation, speak to their frustration. Solution 2, solution overview. Section 2, introduce your unique methodology. Section 3, social proof, process breakdown, more social proof, and a clear CTA. And below this headline section, we're going to have a VSL, which is going to be our third component, right? It's an educational sales video. So here are also some things that are really important for advanced conversions, like really getting into that and like making sure that everything's working properly. Mobile first friendly design is the biggest thing. 70% of the traffic that you're going to get on your landing page is going to be mobile. So it needs to be ready for those types of people. We need to have the trust signals, guarantees, industry certifications, team photos and bios, physical address and phone number, SSL. Obviously we need a secure domain. That's basic shit. Everybody should have that. And then psychological trigger. So having scarcity, authority, social proof, risk reversals. These are all ways that we could build trust with people who are cold traffic. Now your offer is going to have a risk reversal. That's like, if we don't get you X result, you don't pay. So that's what that is. But having all this on your website is absolutely crucial. So component 3 is what we'd like to call the educational VSL. So this is the centerpiece of your system, right? This is where you get the opportunity to really educate every single person that comes to your landing page about what you do. If they don't like your video, if they don't like what you have to say, they're not filling out the form. So they're almost pre-qualifying themselves. So it does a lot of the heavy lifting of the selling. So the video systematically breaks down your prospect's problem, introduces your unique solution, and builds trust through case studies and testimonials. All right. So it's like having your best sales presentation that's written to sell, running 24/7. It does all the heavy lifting for you. So here, I'm not going to get into like the nitty gritty, but we want to make sure that if we're doing a 9-minute video, some of these sections can be longer, especially when it comes to solution and methodology, and then your credibility and proof and case studies. Like these can get a little expanded, but these are the main sections that we want to have in our VSLs. So here's some also like technical requirements, the way that we can optimize the way that we're delivering in the VSL, how we're making the VSL attractive for people, how it's capturing their attention, and then what we should be testing on an ongoing basis for our VSL. So we also have some advanced strategies here too. So component 4 is our application and qualification process. So it's not a qualified lead until they fill out some sort of application and they qualify themselves. Obviously, using conditional logic is going to be a huge piece of this. So instead of just people going straight from your form, straight from your page and booking calls from the landing page, they need to fill out a detailed application that pre-qualifies them. That's like the most important thing. So this filters out tire kickers and only ensures that serious qualified prospects get access to your calendar. So making sure that people are giving the answers that you want to see in each of these sections. And these are all questions that we could ask. I wouldn't ask all of these. I'd pick one or, pick like a couple from each one. You don't want to have more, like, especially in the beginning of your campaign, we don't want more than 5 to 7 different questions, because that's just become pretty heavy for a lot of people. So, obviously like name, email, phone number, business name, website, like that's 6 right there, or 5 right there. But we want to have at least 2 to 3 qualification questions, like what type of business are you, monthly revenue, budget, like budget range for marketing systems right here, the price of your thing, of your system, whatever you're selling, your course, your consulting fee, your agency's deliverable, whatever that is, making sure that you have that, laid out is really important. So, and making sure that people agree and that they qualify. So, some more stuff for qualification stuff. And then the last one is what we like to call the automated nurture sequences. So these are the systems in place, like the ongoing emails that are going out to people before the call, and they're getting a lot of them. Like we're bombarding them with emails. You'll see, like these are the emails. Like this is within the first immediate 2 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. They're getting all of this information. And you might think like, wow, like people are going to hate that. But at the same time, if they hate it, then then they shouldn't be in business with you, because you're giving them valuable information. It's not like you're blowing them up with nonsense. Like they're getting really valuable information out of you. So a lot of the times what this does is it helps verify you as a real business in their eyes, but also you're pre-qualifying yourself to them. So what that means is they're like, oh, this guy means business. Like they know that you're for real, because you're giving everything. They're impressed by your knowledge. They're impressed by your case studies, all the information that goes into these emails here. These are all the different emails you should be writing. And I kind of give you everything here. So it should help. So the next great thing that we like to talk about when it comes to like this system is the predictability factor. So here's what like predictability would look like in practice. So once your system is dialed in, you know that every $100 you spend on ads, you generate one qualified sales call, for instance. So if you want 20 calls this month, you know you have to spend $2,000. If you want 40 calls, you spend $4,000. You're no longer guessing and hoping. You have a reliable machine that you can scale up based on your capacity to growth goals. So let me share a real example. We worked with a business coach who was stuck in feast or famine cycle. Some months he'd make 15K, other months he'd make 60K. There was no rhyme or reason to it, but after we installed our system, there was a rhyme or reason to it. That's not right. He was focusing too much on referrals. That was his main pain point. He tried ads with an agency. It was a terrible experience. So after we installed this automated lead system, he went from, obviously inconsistent revenue, losing clients, getting a bunch back and forth to 18 to 25 qualified calls every single month. And he stabilized his revenue at around 50K, 45, 50K. And more importantly, he could predict his growth. And if he wanted to make more money that month, then he did. So that was the cool thing about it. He finally could, add an assistant or make sure that he was constantly growing. And we don't work with people for long. We do 3-month sprints. So once the system's in place, if they want to work with us for a longer period of time, we do have monthly contracts. But once we build the system, we teach you how to use it, and then you can kind of go on your way. So it's not something that we can do overnight building this system. It requires a significant amount of expertise in market research, offer construction, copywriting, landing page design, technical automation, and system optimization. These are all things that we do for our clients. So the realistic timeline is about 90 days until we're fully up and running. That means like fully optimized campaign, but we get everything built out pretty much within the first month, depending on how quickly you're working with us. So week 1 is foundation and strategy. Week 2 is asset creation. Week 3, technical setup. Week 4 is launch and beyond. So most of our clients start seeing qualified calls within week 5 and 6, and they hit predictable results by weeks 8 through 12. So the key is you're not just getting leads faster, you're building a system that will generate leads for years to come. This is a system that, you're paying for 3 months with us. That's why we do 3 months, because at the end of 3 months, you're done. Like you have a system now. So, it's an ongoing thing. It's not an ongoing thing. I'm sorry. So, if you're looking to, have a predictable system in place and you're trying to get out of that feast or famine cycle, and you're ready to trade that stress for peace of mind, then, click to book a call below. We specialize in exclusively working with B2B companies, coaches, agencies, high-ticket consultants, course creators, and we only work with businesses doing at least 50K per month who are actually spending money on ads that want to get more qualified booked calls. So on the call, we'll take a look at your current acquisition process, identifying exactly what keeps you trapped in that cycle, why we're not scaling. And then we show you how this automated lead system can be installed into your business. So we do guarantee 15 to 20 qualified calls within the first 60 days, or we continue working until you get them at no additional cost. So that's how confident we are in this system. So click the link below, fill out the short application, and stop hunting for leads. Start building your business, start scaling with B2B, Built to Book. I look forward to seeing you guys, and I'll see you around.